G'day guys, welcome to another video on My Blue Heaven. And I'm having a coffee, which means I'm in that kind of serious tone. I'm looking forward to doing this video. I always look forward to doing these types of videos. And as I said last week, that what I really wanted to do over the weekend was get along and watch, given that we had the bye, get along and watch some Coates Talent League football and also some APS football, which I was able to do both on the Saturday and then the Sunday. And I'm here to talk about, obviously, some father and son prospects coming up for us. One this year and one next year, and also 3 NGA prospects who've had a bit of exposure over the last 6 months. All 3 trained with our senior group out at Latrobe University for a week just pre-Christmas, and I was able to see the 3 in action back then. But I think when you're going to talk about any young player who's draft eligible and you're on YouTube or you pumping yourself up as some type of draft guru, that you got to attend games. You've just got to get out there and attend games. I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm not a draft guru. I'm just not. Okay, but what I do like to do is I do focus on particular types of players, and I did it with Flynn Young. I just made sure that I was at those Werribee games to watch him play. You know, you can't rely on live streams. You can't rely on video vision. You can't rely on stealing other people's notes and just putting the same old names in the microwave and reheating them and all that type of stuff. You just can't do it. All right, you've just got to go, and that's why when you go to these games, you see the recruiters. You actually see the scouts from the football clubs. Sure, sometimes they will then go back and watch the vision, but you go there for a reason. You know, you go there to look at body language. You go there potentially to go out to the huddles. You go there to look at the interaction between the player you're looking at and their teammates. And there's nothing like being at a game live. And I was able to do that on the weekend because before I wanted to speak about these 5 lads, I wanted to make sure that I saw them play. And I did that on the weekend. So I started with, I'll start with the father and sons first. And I went to, on Saturday, I went to an APS game. It's the second time in a fortnight that I've been able to go and see an APS game. I went out to Scotch College to see Scotch host Hailbury in the APS Sports Reconciliation Round. It was a beautiful day. It's the first time I've been to Scotch College before, being from the western suburbs. I've sort of driven past there and seen it sort of from the highway just. But look, I was just blown away when I walked through the gates. Oh my God, like it's an amazing place to visit and watch a game of football. But I think you're paying, what is it, $42,000 a year just in tuition fees to send your kid to Scotch College, and I understand a lot of the kids who are playing in the first 18 football are on sports scholarships or partial sports scholarships or full sports scholarships. But 42 grand to send your kid to a school, you probably expect the best facilities, and it is an amazing place, even just to visit. And that's not including the boarding fees either if you want to board there. I think, I'm not quite sure how much it costs if you want to board at Scotch College, but they played Hailbury, and Hailbury were just a little bit too good for Scotch. And what I will say, there is a difference between APS football and Coates Talent League football, and I know there are probably, at each APS school team, there's probably maybe half a dozen, maybe a little bit more, kids who are on Coates Talent League lists. May have played the first 2 or 3 games, or the first game at Coates Talent League level, and then they have to play school footy for the next 11 or 12 weeks. and then they can go back to the Coates Talent League because the school footy takes precedent. I must say, from a standard point of view, the Coates Talent League is better. Like, it's a better standard, better skills, quicker, but that's not taking anything away from APS football, because it's probably a little bit more physical, and there's probably a little bit more structure to it in regards to the coaching. They're obviously playing to be noticed individually, but at the same time, they're playing for their school. There's a lot of tradition. They're playing to win, whereas in the Coates Talent League, it's very much individual. The kids are playing to be noticed, playing to be identified, playing to be drafted. And I see that when I go and watch. It's still a very good standard, but Haileybury were far too strong in this game. They're coached by Matthew Lloyd, who I was super impressed with listening to him speak at quarter time and three-quarter time. But when you're playing for Haileybury and you've got Matthew Lloyd mentoring you with Scott Pendlebury as assistant and also Cale Hooker, I mean, that's some type of leg up. You're playing school footy and you've got those three, two legends of the game in Lloyd and Pendlebury, is still a current player, and you've got Cale Hooker. If you are a key defender at that level, I mean, you've got someone who is an exceptionally good key defender mentoring you. You just don't see that at Coates Talent League level. There's taking nothing away from the assistant coaches and the coaching at Coates Talent League level, but in the APS, they are spending some big money and investing into their footy program. So I went out there, and on Sunday, I went out. Obviously, got a young bloke playing for the Western Jets, so I went out and watched them take on the Murray Bushrangers. It worked out perfectly at La Trobe University, because Harry Dean, the son of the great Peter Dean, two-time premiership player with the Carlton Footy Club in 1987 and also 1995, his son Harry, who's draft eligible this year, was playing for the Murray Bushrangers. So I'll get to that in shortly. So that's what I did on the weekend. It was a great weekend. 2 really good days, 2 high standard football games, and I saw some talent on display. But the 5 players I want to focus on in this video, obviously Cody Walker, Harry Dean, 2 father and sons, and then our NGA prospects. As I mentioned, have had a fair bit of exposure, I think, over the last 6 months. Jack Eison, Tyson Gresham, and also Marjara Clark. So I don't necessarily want to focus too much on stats. In fact, I'm probably at this stage not even going to bother with stats, guys. Be very careful about the stats, particularly at Coates Talent League level. They are inflated. It is pretty much one-way traffic, the way these boys play and the way these teams are structured up. And yeah, so I'll leave that. Yeah, so if you're looking at someone, mid-30 disposals, they're good players. But you got to be very careful about focusing on the stats. When I go and watch these games, I'm looking for, I suppose, little moments in regards to what these players can do, what they're doing off the ball, I suppose their leadership qualities. Heading out, the thing I like to do is head out to the huddles and just watch the way they interact, particularly with their line coaches and the respect they show to the line coaches. Are they listening to them, or are they looking in another direction? All that type of stuff. I was speaking to a player agent before Christmas last year, and one of the things player agents like to do is get out to the huddles just to look at the size of some of these boys in regards to their height with the key position players. It's a bit like, I sort of likened it to a bit like a mounting guard for horses before they go out into the track. But that's what this is like. So I'll start with the father and sons, and I'll just quickly mention Cody Walker, because he's obviously not draft eligible this year. Although, and look, this is the only player I haven't seen play live yet. And I am going up to Marjara on where am I going up? I'll put this down. I wrote this down somewhere. I am heading up to Marjara to watch the Western Jets play Bendigo Pioneers on July the 25th, which is, I think, a Sunday. We've booked some accommodation up there to go up, and I'm just fingers crossed that Cody is actually playing in that game. He's played every game for the Bendigo Pioneers this year and is starring. The kid's a star. The kid could be drafted this year. I mean, I break the ages up as well. I think that's sometimes important, particularly with the bigger boys. But the ages at this level are important because you have now he's can't be drafted until next year, but he is how will I say it? He is an older bottom age player, so his birthday is actually in January, so he's already turned 17. And I've got no doubt in my mind, if he was eligible for this year's draft, he'd be ready to be taken right here, right now, and he'd be a first-round draft pick now. At this stage, he's no doubt top 5 draft pick next year, the way he's tracking. And I can't see, just given the way he plays, his ball-winning ability, his athletic traits, he's a lot like his dad. Look, it's a lot like the way his dad played. Is he going to be a more rounded player than his old man? Time will only tell, but he's certainly made a huge impact since he's made his debut in the Coates Talent last year. The exciting thing for us, I'm going to go watch him in the flesh in July, but he's actually part of the Vic Country under 18 National Championships, and they play in Perth, Vic Country, against WA on Saturday. And I'm assuming, even though he's a bottom ager, I'm assuming given his form at Coates Talent League level where he's starred. He's high possessions, goal kicker, good in the air, a real competitor. I feel like he will just slot straight into that Vic Country team. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how he goes about it for Vic Country against WA on Saturday. I'll be watching that game. But I'm not going to talk much more about Cody Walker because we can't get him this year anyway. But clubs will bid for him next year. They will bid for him. They'll come hard for him. He has got the option to go to Richmond. He's an NGA at Richmond, but given the history of Andrew and his association with our football club, I'm pretty sure that Cody will choose Carlton when the time is right. Harry Dean. Okay, so the son of Peter Dean, 2-time premiership player for the Carlton Football Club and a fan favourite, just as hard as a duck's beak. The old Peter Dean, premiership player, kind of an undersized key defender, but just fucking so tough and so reliable. Actually came to the football club as a forward, Peter Dean, and became one of the better defenders in the competition. I didn't realise after he left Carlton, they headed up to Albury, originally from Bendigo. He was I think, born in the Bendigo region, Peter Dean, but he actually coached the Murray Bush Rangers, where his son plays now for a couple of seasons in 2006 and 2007. But Harry's he's draft eligible this year, but he's a younger top age player. And what I mean by that, he won't turn 18 until November. So yeah, as a key position prospect, when you look at him play, you're thinking there's a lot of upside still with his game. He was really impressive on Sunday against the Western Jets, playing predominantly as a centre half back. He's got the red hair, really good contested mark. Reads the play exceptionally well off the boot, knows how to position himself, strong one-on-one. He was really impressive. That's not the first time he's impressed this season. He's had a pretty good start to the Coates Talent League, the Coates Talent League year, playing for the Murray Bush Rangers. He's 193 centimetres. You would think he's probably still got, hopefully, a centimetre or two left in that body. to thicken out as well. He's not a skinny boy, but there's plenty of scope to build his body up. As I said, just reads the play really well. Good one-on-one player, knows when to punch from behind and also when to intercept in the air and back his marking ability. And for his size, he's got pretty bloody good mobility and tough like his old man. I don't know him, but just watching him play, the way he sets up behind the ball, I feel like he would have decent leadership skills. That's just watching him, the way he sets up with his defenders behind the ball. Kicking, he's a left footer. I wouldn't say it's a strength. Now, I don't want to alarm anyone here. I don't want to alarm going, oh, here we go, there's another poor kicker potentially come to the football club. But I'm just saying it's probably not a strength at this stage, but it can be improved on. It's not an awkward kicking style. It's just, he tends to kick probably a little bit shorter, and they tend to be, he kicks a little bit high at this stage. Another one is in the Vic Country squad with Cody Walker, which is really, really exciting. And the way he's tracking, I'm fascinated to see how he goes in these championships. He'll play this weekend. I'm pretty sure he'll play against WA. I think a club will bid for him. Where that comes at this stage, I'm not quite sure. But I reckon a club will bid for Harry Dean, so we'll have to match that bid at some stage. So there's the two father and sons. Pretty exciting stuff with Harry Dean in particular, given that he's draft eligible this year. And to get him into the football club alongside a player that we drafted last year, Harry O'Farrell, is sort of just locking away some sort of key position prospects in our back half. All right, let's get to the three NGA prospects: Jack Eison, Tyson Gresham, and Marjara Clark, and all trained, with Carlton a week before Christmas, and are all part of the Carlton Academy, the Carlton NGA, three Indigenous lads. And I suppose the interesting thing here, and I don't know if it comes into consideration, I hope it doesn't. I hope we're not feeling some internal pressure at the football club in regards to nailing an NGA pick. We've only ever really drafted one, and that was Dom McHugh, which didn't work out. I think he spent 3 years at the footy club, didn't play a senior game. And it just appears that a lot of other clubs, even Essendon now, are getting some NGA coming through. They had Isaac Kako. They've got some really good ones at the Calder Cannons this year who will be very good players in time, and both will get drafted. I hope we're not feeling the pressure here and we do something just based on the fact that we need to get an NGA player into the club. I hope that's not a big reason of going potentially one or maybe two of these players. But I'm here to talk about the three, and I've seen all these three play now multiple times. And I watched them, obviously, in that open training session at the start of the year. I'm going to start with Marjara Clark, 18-year-old, 183 centimetre, medium forward, from the Oakley Chargers, Scotch College, APS, on a sports scholarship there. I mean, Scotch College have a First Nations sports scholarship program. So both Jack Eison and Marjara Clark are part of that. And Jack Eison and Marjara Clark are actually from the same junior football club, Parkside. So, they've sort of come through the pathway together. Both are at the Oakley Chargers and both are at Scotch College. In regards to Marjara Clark, he's a really nice mover. He's a nice mover, has clean hands, has some class, can take a mark. For his size, like overhead, he's got a really good spring and can sniff out a goal. But he does it in flashes. And it's been, I wouldn't say it's been a quiet start to the year for him, but it's kind of been a subdued start to 2025 with both Scotch and also the Chargers. He trialled with Vic Metro, wasn't part of the summer hub, but trialled with Vic Metro. He kicked a couple of goals, but didn't make the squad for the Nationals, which would be very disappointing for him. I feel like he needs a big second half of the season. And there's a possibility he could do that. I think with him, it's production. He's probably just not doing enough. What he does looks good. It looks good. And I think our club will see the upside in that. But yeah, I just don't know. They'd probably like to see a little bit more from him. He's got some real class about him. But he just needs to probably do some more in regards to production. But when I was talking about the stats before, don't get too carried away with stats, because the things he's actually doing, okay, are probably the things that you'd like to see that will translate into the AFL. But that's Marjara Clark. It's probably a no at this stage for him, but I will keep a really close eye on him across the rest of the Coach Talent League and also the APS footy season. The second player I want to talk about is, and there's been a bit of hype around this kid, and I reckon I've watched him now. I watched him in the under-16s. Seems like he's been around forever at Coach Talent League level, and he just turned 18, and that's Tyson Gresham. He's the obviously the younger brother of Jade, who was drafted to St Kilda and is now at Essendon. They're kind of different types of players, different body shapes. I mean, Jade's not really tall, but Tyson's only 169 centimetres, and I can't see him growing any taller. He just doesn't have. He's got those short, sort of stumpy legs. Northern Knights, Parade College, Bundoora. He's already clocked up 25 Coach Talent League games across. This is his third season. So he started in that as a 15-year-old. So it kind of was like there was a lot of sort of hype around him when he was in the under-16s. Came in. He's played 15 games last year, and then he's played every game except one this year. I think he may have been injured in 2025. And his numbers are really solid. Like I think he's averaging around 16 disposals, kicked maybe 10 goals. He had one really good game where he had sort of mid-20s and kicked 3, and it was like a lot. Like, Tyson Gresham, Carlton, NGA, he's had 25 and kicked 3 goals, and it's like, wow. But I don't want to cast any aspersions, because he's actually not a bad little footballer. He's not a bad little footballer, but I'm just going to say it now, it's actually a no for me. He doesn't overly impress me. I feel, one, he's too small, and that's not the be and end all. Gee, did that come out? And his skills are solid. I just don't necessarily has a lot of X factor, and not really a point of difference. I really don't. He's spending a lot of time in the midfield at Coach Talent League level. I know that for a fact because I've watched that. He can find the ball, but it's not overly damaging. And he's made good. It's good that he's made the Vic Metro squad. It's really good he's made that, because we get to see him this weekend against. They're playing their first game as well against, I think it is South Australia on Sunday at Alberton. I got a feeling that he won't get a game. Maybe he gets a game on the bench. He'll get a game across the course of the carnival, but I don't know if he'll get a game first up. That's my thoughts. I can't see him nudging out other sort of small forwards in the Vic Metro team. I'm talking about Lockie Doveston and also Hussein Al-Achka. Can't he play? He's the NGA product from the Quarter Cannons, who's tied with Essendon. He's good. He's really good. So whether they use Tyson Gresham as a sort of off the bench through the midfield, I'm not quite sure. But I'm just saying now, I'd be really surprised. I'd be actually really surprised if we go with the Tyson Gresham, just based on what I've seen. But obviously, I'm not the one doing the recruiting. Yeah. What I will say just quickly before I get on to the last player in Jack Eison, on Sunday at the Scotch game out at Scotch and Halbury, I saw Mick Agresta, who's our national recruiting manager. So he was there, obviously keeping an eye on Marjara Clark, but also Jack Eison, and obviously some other players as well. And on Sunday at the Coach Talent League game, I saw Glenn Luff, who's part of our recruiting team as well. Former head of Champion Data, was a North Melbourne recruiter. He was actually at the game watching Harry Dean and maybe some other players as well. So yeah, our recruiting team were at both of those games on the weekend. Jack Eison. This is the one that fascinates me the most, because when I went to that open training session before Christmas and we watched this kid in the match sim against seasoned AFL bodies, and he was so eye-catching. Kind of competitive, quick, agile, left foot. There was something about him that stood out. He's an older top age, so I mentioned that age again. So he turned 18 in February, so he's a little bit older than the other two. Oakley Chargers, Scotch College, and the Parkside Junior Football Club. Indigenous boy, 190 centimetres, a nice size. It looks like he's put a little bit of weight on since Christmas. I found him a lot more rangier back when he was training for that week with Carlton. He now looks like he's put a little bit of size on. Can play wing, high half forward, pinch hit in the middle. But at the moment, he's more of your sort of, I wouldn't say he's a third. Yeah, I'd say he's a third sort of tallish in the sort of mould of a Ashton Moyer, that type of size and that type of movement, that type of position. I would say he's probably a little bit more aggressive than Ashton, and he's a left footer as well. Had a foot injury at the start of 2024, which was last year, which sort of it was part of the Oakley Chargers program. But as soon as he came in, he made a bit of an impact, and finally made his debut. Played, I think, 7 games or so. I think he made the Futures game at the MCG under 17s, trial Vic Metro under 17s, all that type of stuff. And yeah, the season has been okay. His season so far has been okay, but he hasn't necessarily exploded out of the blocks, given, I suppose, the hype that was around him. Made the Vic Metro squad, was in the summer hub and has made the squad. I think he's a little bit lucky with that. I really do. But has some I think he has some genuine X factor, some speed and agility. And I don't know. But his left foot is suspect. I'm going to put that on the table now. His left foot is suspect. And speaking to someone on the weekend, who I'm not going to mention, but highly rated coach from, I'm not going to say, not AFL level, but played AFL, but it's just a great football person. I mentioned that I've been to Scotch to watch Jack Eison, and he said, he's in the Vic Metro squad. He's the clunky kicker. And I thought to myself, that's probably what I noticed as well. It doesn't seem to be, I don't know, it's not a great left foot. It's okay when he kicks long, but he has got that X factor, something about him. This is what I noticed though, and I don't think this is a huge deal because I don't know the kid. I just don't. And he had a poor game. I reckon he had a poor game. He took one really nice mark. And that's, as I said before, you only need these little moments, and he took this really nice mark and went back and slotted a set shot from about 30 metres out. And Mika Grester was there watching him. He was there watching him. He was off tap all day. And what I mean by off tap, it felt like his head wasn't in the game. He was undisciplined. He gave away some silly free kicks. He got sucked in by the crowd, because at these APS games, the students sort of give it, a little banter. He's just getting sucked in. I felt it was really undisciplined. I don't necessarily think that's a huge deal, because all AFL clubs, would look at that. They'd be looking at the ability and they'd be looking at the personality as well. But I didn't notice that with him. It was a bit of me time with him, a bit of me time, and when things weren't necessarily going his way, he didn't want to really fight through them. Now that's just an observation, but the kid has got some talent. There's no doubt the kid has got some talent. And if I was to put them in order at this stage, for me, I think raw talent, Jack Eison probably got the most upside. Then I'm probably going Marjara Clark over Tyson Gresham. Tyson Gresham's probably got the most productivity out of the three, but the less upside from my point of view. Marjara Clark shows some flashes, and I think they would like what they see, but they want to see more. And Jack Eison's just got that raw ability, but could be a bit of a hothead. That's just my impressions. But he gets to play, hopefully this weekend for Vic Metro, against South Australia, in South Australia, if he gets a game, and we get to see him on a bigger stage against, I suppose, better opponents, because every level they go up. You know, he's playing APS football, Coates Talent League football, which I think is better than APS. Then you go bang up into the Nationals, and maybe he gets a game in the VFL later on in the year. I'm not quite sure where he's good enough for that at this stage. But anyway, guys, that's just a bit of an update. Two father and sons. Harry Dean, obviously eligible this year, and Cody Walker next year. And our three NGA products, Jack Eison, Marjara Clark, and also Tyson Gresham. Anyway, speak soon.